How's it going, everybody? It's Shinigami here to bring you another top 10 video. Today we're going to bring you the top 10 dumbest Gen 2 Pokemon slash Johto, right? Now, this isn't meant to be derogatory or slander towards any of your favorite Pokemon. I'm sorry if they make the list. It's just, this is my own personal opinion of what I think are the dumbest Pokemon of that generation, right? So, with further ado, we're gonna hit it off with number 10 on the list. So, number 10 on the list we got here, it's gonna be Macargo. Now, the reason I'm putting this guy at number 10 is because at any point in time, this man can go nuclear, right? Now, if you've read any of his Pokédex entries, you've seen that he is literally hotter than the sun, right? Of the surface of the sun. So, in theoretical physics, if we were to have this man actually be around us, he would be burning up oxygen and exploding the air molecules around us because of how hot he is, right? But because he's able to retain his heat within himself, it doesn't happen. All it takes is one mistake and boom, we're done for, right? So for me, that's why I'm putting this bad boy at number 10. Alright, so with further ado, we have our next big bad or dumbest of the bunch. Now, for some of you guys, you might be wondering, why am I putting this guy at number 9? It's simple. If you only follow the Pokemon that are in Gen 2, right, this might make a little bit more sense because by now we are at Gen 9. We have a lot more at our disposal. Pokemon have power crept to an unbelievably strong amount, right? So to power match that, back then, they weren't as strong as we originally thought. So, sitting at number 9 is a Kingdra of dumbest Pokemon. Now, the reason I put this bad boy in number 9 is solely because he's just not strong enough of a dragon type, in my opinion. Now, when I think of dragon types, I think of ferocious, fierce, just ungodly beings you don't want to fuck with. But unfortunately, Kingdra is a seahorse, and he doesn't quite put the fear in my eyes that elevates him to the status of, yes, he is a dragon type when he's at his final evo, but he could be much better, you know, maybe better move pool, maybe some better stats. He didn't quite receive that, so unfortunately, in my opinion, he is the dumbest of number 9 for Gen 2. Alright, so clipping that one out. Sitting in at number 8 on our list here for dumbest Gen 2 Pokemon. It's gonna be our bad boy Remoraid. Now, I won't really repeat the list that we had quite on Gen 1, but for this one, I am gonna say we were robbed of a literal pew pew Pokemon for Gen 2. Originally, if y'all saw Remoraid and Octillery's beta designs, they were more closely designed to a pew pew and a tank. Unfortunately, they kind of scrapped those ideas for a little bit more modest ideas, which was just a fish and an octopus. But in my opinion, that ended up dissolving the majesty that was Remoraid's pew pew design into just a simple, feeble fish design, right? So, in my opinion, that's why I put the bad boy at number 8. Now, at number 7 here on the list, we have the only Miro. Some of you might see him as Tracy's ace, or a companion, right? But for me, I simply see him as a decrepit and unfortunate, favorable continuation to the trend of the Pika clones, right? So, if we would have known at the time that Pokemon was going to continue past Gen 2, I'm sure they would have not made Pika Blue a water type, right? But they did, and so with the results of that, they ended up making Pika Blue Miro, and he was a water type, thus ending the trend that every generation would have a Pikachu clone that was electric type. Obviously, after every other generation, it did happen, but for this one, did not. So, for that, he is number 7. Now, for my bad boys over here, and bad girls to the right, we have number 6 on the list. Here is going to be a Smoochum. Now, for some of y'all, you might be wondering, why is Smoochum here on the list of dumbest Gen 2 Pokemon? And I'm going to tell you really easily. It's because we didn't need no goddamn creepy fucking Jinx baby on this bitch, right? Now, for me, I thought it was fucking weird to have a Jinx baby in the first place when I found out about it. But to see it live, I was just like, you know what? Maybe we're better off without this Pokemon, right? That's just my opinion. But, hey, if y'all like it, you like it. If you don't, fuck it, you don't. So that's going to be my number 6. Now, everybody, hold your round of applause for number 5 on the list of dumbest Gen 2 Pokemon. We're hitting it at Murkrow. Some of you might be wondering, why is Murkrow on the list? Now, if you've seen Scarlet and Violet, or even, Gen 4, Mischievous has actually gotten quite a bit of, recognition. We have Mismagius Evolution, and we have Fluttermane as its Paradox Pokemon form. But Murkrow doesn't see any such love. And none less to say that it also doesn't really get seen in the main game of Gen 2 until quite late. And by that point, it's not even that strong of a Pokemon to even use in the fucking main series game, right? So at that point, it's not useful, in my opinion. That's what puts it at number 5. So, short and sweet for that one. Moving on to number 4 on the list, we're going to put this one real quick. Lydian. Now, my reasoning for this is just because we were robbed of a Kamen Rider Ultraman Pokemon, and we quite did not get that with Lydian, unfortunately. So, that is why he is number 4 on the list. Coming in at a number 3 on the list, you might have been wondering, well, are we going to keep the trend going? Yes, we are. Sitting in at number 3 on the list here is going to be a Porygon 2, simply for the fact that it can get Trojan virus. Therefore, if your Pokemon gets virused, you are fucked because it's going to be frozen in place. So, in my place, that's why it's number 3 on the list. Sitting here at number 2 on the prime spot of Pokemon, dumbest Pokemon of Gen 2, we are here with a personal grudge of mine, Miltank. Some of y'all might be wondering, why is Miltank here at number 2? It's a powerhouse of a Pokemon, especially by Whitney. That's exactly fucking why. Alright? For me, this Pokemon also has the unadmittedly fact of being in 3D, its fucking titties jiggle. Alright? Now, it's one thing to beat me to a pulp, in Gen 2 when the, 2D pixels have ended and that's it. But in Gen fucking 9, its titties still fucking jiggle. when it beats me up. And I think that is just too much for me to handle. So, that's why it's number 2 on the list. Let me know if you agree with that. Alright, so, finally, right of a roll, whatever. You know, number 1, roll the drums. We're here sitting in number 1 with a Smeargle. Some of you might be wondering, why is this bad boy at number 1? Well, let me tell you quite simply, folks. Put it simply, this bad boy has to wait for your command to sketch said move that you wanted to copy, right? Now, you can only have 4 moves at a time, so you have to think about it. What moves do you want my Smeargle to learn? Depending on the generation, you might have a various amount of moves to pick, or if you're in Gen 9, you have almost no variety to pick. Meanwhile, you might not want to use them at all. So, what do you do? In this amount of instances, you might want to say, if it's in the past generations, you pick the best, strongest, and best moves to use, but then that means you have to encounter legendary Pokemon of mythical descent, just to get some strong move like Dark Void or Spatial Rend, right? Otherwise, you can't do shit to this fucking Smeargle. The best thing you can have on him is fucking Fire Blast or Thunder. That's why, in my opinion, it is unfortunate and number 1 on the list, Smeargle. You have to wait and hold this Pokemon to hope that you find a Pokemon with a strong enough move to use. And even then, he may not even use it to the best capacity because he's just a simple normal type. Until Gen 9, he couldn't even change his fucking type. But even being that, he doesn't have quite a huge move pool to begin with. So, for me, that's why Smeargle is number 1. Let me know in the comments down below if I did a justified opinion or if I did this well enough. Otherwise, you know, dislike, bombard it, it's fine. Hey, Shinigami signing out. Y'all have a good night, good evening, good morning. And this is A Shinigami's top 10 Gen 2 Pokemon. Dominus Pokemon, whatever. Blah blah. Hope you have a good night. See ya. Bye.